Welcome into another episode of the Laser Bros podcast. We're your hosts, Logan and Luke Lazarchik. Today, August 15th, 2025, Friday. Now it's the weekend. Football. We're back to more NFL preseason action. There's no games last night. We have two games tonight. And one of those teams, the Chiefs, we'll be talking about, news that broke yesterday with pertaining to the Chiefs and one of their star players. And then we'll be doing a little segment called Level of Concern. We'll each be presenting 2 to 3 teams to each other and asking how concerned we are with those teams a couple weeks ahead of the regular season. But Luke, how are you today? I know you probably had a pep in your step from last night in our little poker game, I'm assuming.
Yeah, had some nice poker play. So that always makes the the next day pretty nice. Got pretty lucky, but now it's some good momentum into the weekend.
Yep. So let's start with the news that broke yesterday. Rashee Rice, his disciplinary hearing was announced for September 30th. Kind of a controversial, kind of bit of news we got because now it appears that he will be playing the first 4 weeks at least. It seems like he will not be suspended for his first 4 games. And he may play 5 games because, the fallout from the hearing could take another week to materialize. So, one, what was your main takeaway from what you heard yesterday? And do you prefer that, he be suspended right out of the gate or, kind of a delayed suspension, which it looks like that's what's going to happen with this situation?
I mean, it's a little weird because, you don't see this happen often. And then where it gets delayed to, a certain time, it's a little do I think it was, on purpose set up for some scheduling ratings thing? No, but it is weird. It's just weird. So it's I don't think it's it, but it's just weird. But from a football standpoint, I think I prefer just get out of the way. Because let's say suspended 6 games. You play 6 games without him, and you get Xavier Worthy established, maybe Hollywood Brown or Jalen Royals gets somewhat established, and then he comes back. And he's playing. Maybe it takes a couple weeks to get used to having Rice back and Worthy's now back to 2, and everyone goes down a peg. But then when it's week 11, you're back to consistency, assuming nothing else weird happens. And now you're in this weird Rice and Worthy are each going to be. It's not weird per se, but let's say Worthy has it's just coincidence. Worthy gets a couple of good breaks. In the first 5 weeks, 3 of them, he's wide receiver 1. And then Rice gets suspended, so then he's feeling it. And then he doesn't play up to wide receiver 1. Rice comes back, then you have this weird who's really the true 1. Even though I think most people think it's Rice, I don't think Rice is this insane player where he can't be overtaken as the 1. So it's a little odd. And I think it was Tim Grunhard. I think he said he heard rumors around the NFL that they wanted the NFL wanted an 8 to 10 game suspension. I saw he tweeted that, but the Rice or the NFLPA wanted 4 to 6. So if that's the reason that it's taking so long, I mean, 8 to 10 is a lot, but that's not. No one's saying that's proven, but that'd be weird. 8 to 10 is a lot, even though.
Yeah. I think 8 is a good range. I think 10 would be a little over the top. I know that what he did was not good at all, but we've seen other players do, I think, and I don't want to compare, but I think far worse things than get 4 or 5 games, 6 games. So, and it's kind of a gray area. I don't really want to be offending anyone with that, but I do think there's been situations where players have done far worse things, and maybe people view this Rice thing as he did a really bad thing, which you could definitely make the argument. I mean, he definitely put himself and others' lives at risk. He was very lucky that nobody, got killed in the situation or anything like that. But pertaining to the football standpoint, I kind of agree. I kind of wish that you just get out of the way. And I think Dan Graziano reported yesterday that Rice and the NFL were negotiating a suspension. They couldn't meet in the middle, which I think that kind of, Tim Grunhard's tweet yesterday I think matches those reports because it seemed if it was 5 or 6 games, I think Rice would have just taken it. But the fact that the NFL wanted 8 to 10, he'd probably try to get to the 5 and 6 range. So for me, I think this actually puts more pressure on the Chiefs at the beginning of the season to get onto a hot start, because if you start out the season 3-2 or whatever, you now lose your best receiver going into the middle part of the season. And like people want to say like Chiefs, the NFL's trying to help the Chiefs, and I mean you can say all you want, but like also in the season, it's not like after the first 4 or 5 games the schedule lines up a bit. I mean, you still have Detroit week 6, Washington, and Buffalo, and then after the bye, Denver. And the bye week won't account towards Rice's suspension. It'll hop in. So I think like if he's suspended after week 5, he's probably missing all those games. And you also have the Raiders in there, which I don't think they're a walkover this year. So there's still some tough games. I think because he's going to be suspended in the middle of the season, I do think it somewhat puts more pressure on the Chiefs to start out the gates really well. And I'm not saying that they're at risk of not playing well in those first 5 games, but I think there's more added pressure because of that.
I mean, yeah, with the Chiefs at this point, I mean, I don't think they really care about pressure. But I mean, it's just, let's say they were helping them for some case in some reason. I mean, just like, that'd just be so stupid. It's like, as a Chiefs fan, it's like, even though I didn't believe it, I was like, come on, not this again. Like, do we keep having to have weird stuff happen? Like, that's just weird. It's just weird. 10 games is a lot, but let's say they were saying like 6 or 7. I guess they don't really do
I think
7.
6 to 8 is a fair amount of games. I do think 10's a bit. I would say it's a bit of.
Yeah, 10's a lot. I mean, it's a lot with like, okay, well, he what am I thinking of the legal term? But like, he admitted his guilt legally.
Pled guilty.
So I think that pleading guilty adds to your, because like I think with like Deshaun Watson, his suspension, he was never found like truly legally guilty of anything. It was just like, yeah, we should suspend him. So it's a kind of weird area, but I do think it's also they played without him all last year, so maybe you could say it's a positive because then more it's just extending his absence, but now he gets to get back on the field with Mahomes earlier. So that's like that is actually helping us a little bit aspect, which I could somewhat see.
I also think the Chiefs are more built to kind of counter Rice's absence. Like last year, the receiver depth is really bad. And now this year you have Tyquan Thornton, who stepped up in camp. I really like Jalen Royals. He's kind of the same play style as Rice. We don't know how good he is, but I do think they have the same, skill level or skill type, prototype. I think you still have Juju there. I think they have more depth at that position. And so I think even if he is suspended, a significant amount of games, I do think that they are well built to step up while he's gone. But yeah, I mean, people are going to say that the league's trying to help him and all that. I'm with you. I wish there wasn't all these weird things happening to Chiefs because you kind of just want them to win and not people, put an asterisk by things because, they're getting favorable things from the NFL. But, I mean, I still believe in the Chiefs, obviously. Without Rashee Rice, we saw a whole year last year where, the offense, it was not explosive and it wasn't really – I mean, most of the games were really ugly. They were 11-0 in one-score games. They were scoring barely over 20 points or, under 20 points per game. But I do think now you have Worthy with another year in the offense. I don't really view Worthy as I don't think he'll ever overtake Rashee Rice as the one. I think Rice is more he just dominates targets underneath. I think Worthy isn't a gadget guy, but he's still a smaller receiver to me. I think he's more of a 2 in this offense. But could he take that leap without Rice in the offense again? Yeah, for sure. I probably still say Rice is the 1, but hopefully the offensive line, the run game picks up. Kelsey, we won't see the Kelsey of prime, but we definitely see an improved Kelsey. Much better than last year.
Oh yeah, the offense should be better than last year, no matter what.
Yeah. With that, let's move on to our segment that we will do today, Level of Concern. We're about 2.5 weeks from the NFL season, maybe a little over 3. No, 2.5. So what we're going to do is each of us are going to present the other with a team, and then that person will say the level of concern they are from 1 through 10. Do you want to get us kicked off with this, or do you want me to?
You can start. You can get your first team.
All right. My first team for you, I'm going to say I'll say Los Angeles Rams and Matthew Stafford. He hasn't really been practicing. I think he's supposed to work out tomorrow. What's your level of concern from 1 to 10? 1 being least concerning, 10 being most concerning with that situation.
I feel like I was at like a 4 a week ago before, like, because it seemed like he was about to practice, and it was like, okay, he's about to practice. They're saying he's good. Then he didn't practice, and then he went to whatever the hell that chamber was. I want to say 7. 7 seems a little high because I still trust the structure, the weapons, the defense. 6 seems 6.5. I'm gonna go 6.5. I feel like 6 is low, 7's high. 6.5. I still just obviously without Stafford, but I could see them like as good as Stafford is. It's like he's a very limiting quarterback. Like it's like okay, you're not gonna run and stuff. So obviously he's a top 10 guy right now still, but I feel like. And I think Stetson Bennett has a chance. I just do. I think he played a whole preseason for a reason. They say he's been better in camp than Jimmy G. I think there's a chance. Maybe let's say Stafford's out 8 weeks. Jimmy G starts, but that leash could be short, and then you can see Stetson Bennett, or they can go trade. I still think Jameis Winston would be cool. He just.
Well, do you think Jameis Winston could be a cut candidate? And I'm not saying he
could. I mean, Dart looked pretty solid. Wilson, I trust Wilson enough. He could, because then they also have Tommy DeVito, and maybe they're like, oh, let's keep Tommy DeVito's pretty good QB3 for a QB3. I mean, it could be a cut. That's still like, I'm putting this up like Jameis Winston as a Ram. I think is fine, but okay, even without that, it's just still like the roster's really good. Like great coaching, great roster. It's like last year they had injuries. They had Cooper Kupp out, Puka was out a few games. Stafford, I think, was hurt for a lot of it. So, like, I don't see this insane drop-off even without Stafford. Yet without Stafford for, like, 6 weeks.
I don't think Stafford was ever hurt last year.
No, I think he was definitely hurt dealing with some. There's some.
He's always hurt. He's always hurt.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying.
That's kind of a statement that doesn't even.
I know. I don't think he was having this great Matthew Stafford year last year. Is all I'm saying. There's a lot of.
Well, he was also out his top 2 weapons for.
No, yeah, but even when the Adam is a lot of chuck it to Puka. They didn't run the ball great, but I expect that would be better. I don't know, 6.5, because obviously Stafford's a good quarterback, but they're just so. I feel like if he's out some games, they can maintain it while he's gone.
I mean, he played 16 games last year, and the only one he missed was the Week 18 game in Seattle where they already.
He didn't. Yeah, but I think I remember it being like he was questionable a lot or something, and it's back, and it's just like.
Well, he hasn't really had a great year since 2021 when they won the Super Bowl.
That's what I'm kind of saying.
2022, he played only 9 games, had 10 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. 2023 had 24 touchdowns and 11 picks in 15 games, and he didn't complete 4,000 yards. And then last year, he played 16 games and had 20 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and 3,700 yards. So I think it's pretty much close to a guarantee that they'll have a new quarterback in 2026. Not only Stafford old, but it's just like they're constantly dealing with these questions and doubts. And every preseason, he's always being held out early and not really getting any practice time with the team. So, and they have 2 first-round picks in next year. I think next year is probably when we see them have a new quarterback. And Stafford could retire very likely after this year as well. So I think it's a very high chance that the Rams have a new quarterback in 2026. Either, signing the free agent or what I think is going to happen is that they'll draft him.
Yeah. That's like a -500, I feel like.
Yeah. What is your team or your first team that you want to bring up?
I'm going to go with Washington. After Jane Daniels, I think that was possibly the greatest rookie season ever. Watching him, I liked him out of the draft, but I still had him behind Caleb and Drake May. I love Drake May. I think he's going to be so good. But Jaden Daniels just had everything. He didn't get hurt. He still had a good arm. He was accurate, and it's also you could just tell he's kind of got a dog in him. But just looking at this year, they lost De'Ami Brown, who I thought was good. They traded for Debo. I didn't like that. Terry has not practiced, and I also think Terry's also a little overrated. But he hasn't practiced yet. I don't know if he's going to get signed. I know he was at practice talking to GM, but just it's hard to give Terry a lot of money. And I'm not big on you need a wide receiver one or huge. I feel wide receiver's overvalued in some sense, but without Terry, even though I think he's a little overrated, then it's like Debo who gets hurt. I don't know how good he is. Noah Brown is Noah Brown, and then like your maybe Jalen Lane, their rookie pops up, but so I don't love that. The O line is solid. We'll see how good Tunsil still is, but it's like you got Wiley at right tackle. Okay. Zach Ertz is your tight end. He's old, but I guess he's pretty good. But then you go to the defensive side, it's like I don't like their secondary at all. It's like I don't like it.
No.
Marshall Lattimore is easily your best player, and he did not play well after you traded for him, and that could be adjusting, but he did not play well. And then the front seven is kind of old. Bobby, Von Miller, don't know how good he is still. Payne's at 30. Honestly, Frankie Louvu is my favorite guy there. So, I don't know. That's my concern team for you. I gave a little more analysis than I meant to, but I think that's interesting.
For me, and before I answer this, so I was looking at, and I saw this the other day when I was, looking around watching stuff on TV. The 2024 season, the Commanders, really good season. Definitely overachieved, reached the NFC title game.
Yeah.
Do you know the quarterbacks that they beat last year? I saw this graphic on TV the other day, and I just looked it up right now. So they beat Daniel Jones twice, and this is all their wins. So this is who they ended up winning against. Kenny Pickett, Trey Lance, Kyler Murray, Andy Dalton, Caleb Williams, Jake Hayner / Spencer Rattler, who both played that game, and Michael Penix.
Oh, boy.
That's the quarterbacks that they beat last
I thought they beat Eagles once. Did they not?
They did, but Jalen Hurts got
hurt. Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett, yes. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Kenny Pickett was actually not terrible.
And A.J. Brown helped a lot. And I think they were down like 21-7 early on.
Didn't someone drop? There's a big drop, though, right? Kenny Pickett almost won that game.
No, I think Devontae Smith dropped the first down to ice the game.
Yeah, he had like a really bad drop.
For me, and people say Commanders are a really young team, or like you would think that, because Jay Daniel, they're a really old team. Terry McLaurin, 30. He will be 30. Debo Samuel, I think he's 30, 31 at this point. Bobby Wagner's old. Zach Ertz is old. Laremy Tunsil, who they just traded for, is old. And I think they overpaid for Laremy Tunsil and Marshawn Lattimore in the trade market. I think they gave up way too much for both players. I think it was multiple seconds for each player. That was included in those deals. For me, I mean, I'm probably going to put a 5. I'm not overly concerned. I think most of the times when these players have contracts, they either – like, for me, I think McLaurin either gets a deal, which I think is the least likely thing. But I think maybe what they do is they restructure his contract, give him a raise for 1 year, and then just let him walk after this year. Receiver is an easy position to replace players. The draft provides countless receivers throughout the entire draft. It's not even like first-round talent, second-round talent. You can find receivers on a third day who are really good. I would say a 5, but they feel very Houston, like the Houston Texans last offseason, who kind of went all in on offense. Didn't really address defense and Houston, I think, has a much better defense anyways. But Houston kind of went all in on the 3 wide receiver system, got Joe Mixon at really good value. I liked what Houston did last year more than the Commanders have done this year in terms of acquiring players, and trades and all. Because they don't mix first. They also got Christian Kirk this year for a 7th, which I think is 2 really good, solid deals. But Joe Mixon's out. But I don't know, Commanders. I don't know. Like, I'd probably say a 5 for this year. I just don't really love what they did. And Cliff Kingsbury also, he kind of gets figured out in his second year. Now, he hasn't had a quarterback of Jay Daniel's stature, but he kind of gets figured out his scheme after a year or so. So, I would say 5 right now. I'm probably going to say right down the middle. I'm not, brushing it off or too overly concerned at this point with the Commanders, but we'll have to see here in a couple of weeks.
I don't love them. I was just saying I don't love them. I don't know who their second best player is. Is it?
I don't really like the running game. Offensive line, you drafted Jack Connerly.
Is it Payne? Is it Payne?
But you lost Cos. I don't think Payne's the second best player. No, I probably say Terry. But I don't even know if that's
Terry's not even like a top 20 receiver.
I mean, I think he's their second best player. Honestly, you
No,
don't
I
like
know.
the running game.
If
You're not
he
really in
is,
love with.
I mean, maybe
Defensively,
Frankie Louvu is actually really good. I think he was really good last year. I think it may be
I don't like
Frankie
it. To be honest, Commanders, it's really just Jane Daniels who's the only player you really love on that roster.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, if they
Second
miss
team,
playoffs, I won't ever blame them. I'll blame the team, not him.
Second team I'll mention, I'll stay in the NFC West. I'll say the 49ers. A lot of injuries. I'm typically lower on 49ers than most people are. The last couple of years I have been. They have a lot of injuries this year. The receiving core, you lost Jordan Watkins to a high ankle sprain. Jacob Cowling just came back from a hamstring injury. Juwan Jennings has a calf injury, which has held him out the last 2 or 3 weeks. Their first-round pick, Michael Williams out of LSU. I want to say
Georgia.
He just got hurt. Georgia. He just suffered a hyperextended knee, which has kept him out the last week. And and Ayuk's also probably going to be out the first quarter of the season, a little bit more than that. For me, the 49ers, they don't have that much depth. They're a top-heavy team as usual, but they've lost a lot of key pieces on both sides of the ball. We may be on opposite sides of this, but what is your level of concern with the 49ers heading into 2025 season?
I'd say a 3, and I'm legit on that. I say a 3 because I still compare them to last year, and I go through it again. Their roster is honestly better. It's better because McCaffrey's healthy. It's better than it was last year. It just was because the players they lost didn't even play last year. So it was better. It's better than it was last year, in my opinion. And having McCaffrey, he's healthy right now. So I'm assuming he's going to be healthy. And if he's healthy, that completely changes everything because I still think he may be the best running back in football. And I think we've seen how much the best running back in football or top 3 running back in football can change a team. So they're getting McCaffrey back. Kittle's still amazing. Ricky Pearsall, who many people kind of gave up on, even though he didn't really have a chance. It seems like he's really shined. I still feel like Juwan Jennings is going to play. I think he'll be fine. I think that'll be okay. So I think they're still going to have 2 solid receivers and figure it out. And everyone's talking about Jordan Watkins, but they weren't talking about him after a 70-yard touchdown or before the 70-yard touchdown. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, they lost Jordan Watkins. And like DeMarcus Robinson's going to be gone a little bit.
They were really liking Watkins.
Well, yeah, but you weren't like, oh, Jordan Watkins before then, but then he gets hurt, and now it's a thing.
Yeah, but that speaks to how many injuries. That speaks to how many injuries they have at the receiving core already.
I know, but
that's why we're
talking about Watkins. They're still going to have. I think week 1 they're going to have 2 of their top 3 guys week 1 still, and then you'll get DeMarcus Robinson back. You'll get Ayuk back eventually. And you'll get Watkins back eventually. So I think they're going to have a pretty good receiving core. The O-line's the O-line. That's just that. One concern is Trent Williams falling off, but he's also one of the best left tackles ever. So
he kind of fell off last year.
No, I know, but last year was also a mess. He also had an off-field thing that was devastating. Like, it was such a disaster. And on the defense, the Michael Williams thing, not great. But they got Robert Saleh back. You still have Nick Bosa. You still have Fred Warner. I like D. Winters is good. Lenore is still good. And I'm trusting the Shanahan offensive system, the Saleh defense system, and your stars. So you have a good offense system, defense system, you have stars. And I think Brock, honestly, was pretty good last year. It was just a total mess. And there's not much he could really do about it. It was just a disaster from hell. And, sometimes – and they had so many games where you're just hoping. I mean, this is one thing where this is just hoping that the special teams actually learns how to special team, because they lost 3 games because they couldn't kick field goals or play punts well or kickoffs or return. It was just the special teams was so bad last year. It's like they got more stead this year.
Kyle Shanahan's still the coach, right?
No, yeah, he's still the coach, but that's why I just said at some level of hope.
Always continue to be.
I think the special teams could get better because Moody got hurt last year too. Moody got hurt, and
but Moody's never been that great.
I know, but then they literally couldn't.
I'm pretty sure I heard the other day they're having a kicking competition between Moody and their other kicker.
Okay, but Logan, remember, I think there's literally a game that they lost because they couldn't kick field goals because he got hurt, and so then you're just not even kicking field goals. It's it was like a 4th and 7 or something for a 30-something yard field goal, and they had to go for it because they couldn't kick the field goal. And and then missed 2 extra points because he's hurt. So that's just so much bad what happened for the Niners, even with their injuries right now. Hasn't happened to Kittle. Hasn't happened to McCaffrey. Hasn't happened to Fred Warner. Hasn't happened to Nick Bosa.
But that doesn't mean that it won't happen.
But until it happens, I'm not going to be worried about it. McCaffrey a little bit, that's fair. But I'm not going to be worried about it until it happens. Until they get hurt.
Well, the vibes of this offseason are everybody. If you follow the beat reports there, everybody's falling like flies there. They have hit injuries every day of practice.
No, I know.
And
but
the thing that's different than from previous years, they have no depth. They've always been a top-heavy team. They have no depth. I didn't really understand why they signed Brock Purdy after. I mean, he went 6-11. They just gave him a new contract. I didn't really understand that. You kind of saw last year what he would look like if the team fell apart.
I think he looked pretty good last year. I think, that's if your entire team falls apart. The entire team. And you could say that this year, but the main guys, for the most part, outside of Ayuk, are all there.
Yeah, but the thing is, McCaffrey could be a ticking time bomb. Kittle's a very physical player.
But that's hypothetical. That's hypothetical. I'm not there yet. That's hypothetical. So I'm not worried about that right now. McCaffrey was hurt last year.
For me, if you ask me about the 49ers, my level of concern would probably be like a 6.5 or 7, just because there's so many injuries, and I don't think they have the depth of previous years. And ironically, when we do our predictions, it's kind of weird because I value schedule, and they have the easiest schedule in the league, but it's also at the same time I don't know, the health of their roster right now is just very concerning for me. So I would probably say
their defense has not been well coached in the past 2 years. It's been a mess. And then they got Robert Saleh back, who was great with coaching them. He was great. He was so good. Even when they went to Super Bowl, the defensive coaching was terrible. So now you got Saleh back.
I think Steve Wilkes was their DC.
Yeah, Saleh. I think that's not being talked about because Saleh is a really good defensive coach. He just isn't a head coach. And so now for the Niners for the future as well, Saleh's not getting a head coaching job for 4 years. So I think that gives.
What do you mean? I don't know if he gets another head coaching job.
Well, yeah, that's even better. He could be Steve Spagnuolo, which is awesome for Chiefs. We have the top 3 D coordinator, and no one's gonna hire him. So that's I'm not concerned. You knew I wasn't concerned about it.
All right, your second team.
My second team, the Chicago Bears. And now I don't try to do.
I had a feeling that you were gonna.
Yeah.
You were gonna say the Bears. I had a feeling.
I don't try to do too much off-season stuff. This is how he looks in camp, but I don't know. It's Caleb Williams. I'm now legit concerned about Caleb Williams. I am concerned. He may just be, and again, I talk about it with quarterbacks. I don't think it's all about talent. That's just not where I love the O-line additions. I like those. But then everything else they did, I didn't like. And I'm concerned about Caleb Williams. So what's your level there?
So Caleb Williams, I think, and tell me what you think about when I say this. I think this is the first year where he's entering a situation where he's actually being coached.
It's a second year in the league.
Because in college, there's a lot of RPOs, a lot of just simple wide receiver concepts that if you didn't really like the route or if nothing's open, you can kind of ad lib and make a really good play out of it. I do think there is some level of concern, but I also think he's learning a new offense, Ben Johnson has basically thrown the kitchen sink at him the entire offseason. If you've watched or if you've listened to press conferences and all that, Ben Johnson has said that their goal was to overload Caleb Williams and then dial it back as offseason progressed. So when the offseason first started, they were basically throwing everything at him, making him learn everything. Ben Johnson's offense is very complex, not just the route trees and all that, but also verbiage. There's been reports that Caleb Williams, before the huddle, he's getting 3 to 4 plays, and then he's lined up for the line of scrimmage and then choosing one of those plays based on how the defense is lining up. I do think as the season progresses, I do think you'll see Caleb Williams improve. It may be bumpy early in the season, and there's been kind of rumblings and rumors and all that they held Caleb Williams out of the first game because he wasn't really ready to play in that system yet, which that can be concerning in itself. For me, I think the first few weeks, first month or so could be a little bumpy for the Bears. And I don't think they're going to be like fantastic this year or anything. But I do think as the season goes on, you'll see Caleb Williams play better and better. And there's too many weapons on this offense to not be good. I don't really like what they did in the draft. I wish they kind of addressed the defensive side of the ball more. But he does have weapons at his disposal where he should be pretty good. So right now, it's similar to Commanders. I'd probably say 4.5 to 5. I'm not going to panic about Caleb Williams. On the other side of the spectrum, like when Kenny Pickett that 1 year with Pittsburgh where they scored 5 touchdowns on 5 possessions in preseason, everybody's like, oh, Kenny Pickett's the real deal. And then regular season came along, and it didn't really pan out at all. So I think Caleb Williams, I think people are freaking out a little too much. I think it's more of him learning a new offense, and in my opinion, being really coached hard for the first time in his career.
Well, yeah,
because like last year he had Shane Waldron as his OC. We know the Shane Waldron story at this point. Yeah. Nobody really used this good OC.
But that's the concern. He doesn't know how to be coached, and it's going to take him a long time. And he is. There's like Mahomes had Andy Reid, like that's, and that was off the year, and he had a year to sit out under Andy Reid, under Alex Smith. There's just something when you're that talented as Caleb Williams, and like you just look this bad. You look this bad in camp. Like it's just terrible. I don't love to do it as much. I think you value it probably more than I even do, but I don't. But it's just like you're supposed to be one of the best prospects ever, and you're not doing anything. Like last year, you had moments, but I felt like it wasn't like these smart plays. It was just highlights, and Justin Fields has highlights. There's so many. I don't care about highlights.
So when Jared Goff first went to the Lions, his career was teetering. Like he
went to a Super Bowl.
Okay. Luke, okay. Can you let me finish my point? When his last season with the Rams, he got benched for John Wolford. The coaching staff gave up on him. The Rams gave up 2 first-round picks to get rid of him in that contract. So at that time, the contract was viewed as pretty bad. After the Super Bowl, the next 2 years, he was not good. You can pull up his stats. You can pull up whatever. He was not good. His career was teetering. When he went to the Lions, and he went to Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson got him into the offense. They found a rhythm. Jared Goff, completely different skill set. So maybe that's better with Ben Johnson. But I think Caleb Williams you can still, if you're getting up on Caleb Williams right now, I'll buy all the stock.
I'm not giving up on him. I'm saying this year, I don't think he's going to be. I think I struggle about them this year because also Lions sucked, but Goff was not great that first year. And Goff, okay, you can't just say, okay, he went to Super Bowl. Goff went to a Super Bowl. He went to a Super Bowl. That is a million times more than anything Caleb Williams has done besides run around on a
but also
London
Goff,
game.
His first year. Goff's first year in the league was also, people were like, and it's not Goff's fault.
Okay, but why is this about Jared Goff?
It's 1 year because Ben Johnson took Jared Goff and
that not his second year. That was Sean McVay. Sean McVay is second year. Ben Johnson's no Sean McVay.
I'm not saying, but when he went to the Lions, and they
that doesn't mean that is literally the most useless argument for me. They're completely different players. Jared Goff is always like, I think we all know Jared Goff from the get-go is a smarter quarterback. This isn't saying that Caleb Williams can't get better or he won't get better. I'm saying I'm concerned this year.
What year did the Rams go to Super Bowl with? Was it 2018?
Who cares? He wins.
Okay. No. Can you let me?
I don't remember the exact.
Calm down.
I don't remember the exact year.
And okay. That's why I'm bringing up right now. I'm talking about stats. Calm the hell down. 2019 and 2020. Just calm down. Let me get my point. Stop freaking out like a baby.
I didn't ever say anything.
2019. He had 22 touchdowns, 16 picks. Okay, that's a year after the Super Bowl. 2020, he had 20 touchdowns and 13 picks. So that's 42 touchdowns and 29 interceptions over those 2 years. That's not to say that, he's a bad quarterback now. But those 2 years are pretty bad. And in Sean McVay's system, that's pretty bad. If you want to give Sean McVay all credit, you also look at the fact those are pretty bad stats in a Sean McVay offense with good weapons and a good system. His career was, at that point, we had major question marks about him. Now, I'm not comparing the 2 players that Caleb was better than Jared Goff. I do think Caleb is more talentedly gifted, and if you can work out some of those flaws in his game, like I think Ben Johnson could, you could see. I'm not saying Caleb is now going to be entering the top 5 quarterback conversation. But I'm not going to now say there's no chance that he turns it around. And like for you, just like I don't think it's going to. If it takes 12 weeks, okay, but you don't let me explain my point. That was my point before you freaked out. But that was why I was bringing up Jared Goff.
But Goff is completely different. I was saying that
they were.
They're terrible comparisons. Also, because Goff.
Did you not just hear how I preferenced it? I said
no, yeah, but I think the preferences
skill sets, but one.
It doesn't matter about the skill set.
Jared Goff, that don't help Jared Goff turn around his career somewhat.
Okay,
and Caleb Williams. If you're going to say after 1 year,
am I going to make a couple
Do you think Caleb Williams?
Yeah,
he's closer to what he is now?
What?
He's played 1 year.
Okay, yes, exactly. That's the whole point, Logan. That's literally the whole point. You're making my point here. Jared Goff, when he revitalized his career, it was like in year 7. He has 7 years of football experience in the NFL. Caleb Williams has 1 year to fix. So that's a huge difference. Jared Goff is much more, he can apply so much more to improve himself through 7 years than Caleb Williams can with 1. Like, do you not see that? And again,
okay. Also, this is also Jared Goff was his rookie year, 5 touchdowns, 7 picks. The next year, with a new coach, a new play caller, had 28 touchdowns, 7 picks. Why can't Caleb Williams do the same? Have something?
Okay, because also he looks terrible in camp. I think we all know Caleb Williams, football-wise, not very high IQ. Not very high IQ. And it doesn't seem like it's getting better. It seems like it's just staying, even with it. He was a low IQ quarterback coming in. Jared Goff is not considered this low IQ quarterback. Caleb Williams was. And you know what? He hasn't shown anything to increase his IQ. And that's probably the most important trait is IQ. So they're completely different comparisons. I don't value any of the Jared Goff comparisons just because he got better second year. Lots of quarterbacks get better second year than lots of quarterbacks don't. So I'm not going to take the Jared Goff comparison when there's about nothing similar to them. They're each getting off. They're each getting. Well, yeah, but that's not again. And the first year wasn't great, but that's all. And then he had his second year where he was really good with the Lions. His second year in the system, not his first. This is also going to be his first year in the system. So that's why this year, 2025, 2026, I didn't say anything beyond it. I said 2025, 2026, concerned because of all that, because I think it may be a 2-year thing for him. And so all those points about his first year.
I'm not going to say if he struggles this year, I'm going to give up.
I literally didn't say that. That's my whole point is he could struggle this year and I could still like him. I said that 4 times. I said this year I don't like him. That's the point I made.
I'm saying I think it will take. It may take like half a year. I do think that he's going to improve than what he was last year. I do think you're seeing improvement.
If he doesn't improve at all, then yes, there's lots of concern.
Well, yeah,
he was terrible.
I do think the most important. Well, yeah, but we don't know. Just like you don't know about McCaffrey and George Kittle's health.
No, yeah, I know, but
I'm going to say the same thing.
This is just my level of concern, but this is different. That's injury. That's injury. This is.
Can I make my point, or you keep?
You made 20 points. I made
8. But you talk a lot during 3 points. My point is, if it takes like half the year.
That's not good.
Like I think the most important thing for can you stop? Jesus Christ. The most important thing for the Bears this season is to see improvement in Caleb. Like I don't know if they're going to be a playoff team. If they are, that's definitely great news. But I don't think let's say they finish like 8 and 9. I don't think the sky is falling. Will it be disappointing to Chicago fans if they don't make the playoffs? Yes. But I think if they go 8 and 9, 9 and 8, and Caleb shows on the field that he's improving and not just relying on his supernatural talents, I do think that's a step in the right direction. Like nobody's expecting the Bears to make the playoffs this year. Nobody is.
I don't think
you're not expecting them.
I'm not. That's me. You're saying nobody.
But most people. But I think second best division in football. People view the Lions have been there. Vikings have arguably the best roster in the entire league. And Packers, there's question marks there, but they still have a foundation there with the coach and continuity with Jordan Love, the coach. I don't think there's a lot of I don't think anybody's gonna say Bears are win. I don't think there's a lot of expectation for Bears to win against North. So go ahead.
They thought they were gonna make the playoffs last year. You had people saying Super Bowl.
Okay, but now you have to make adjustments on what.
Yes, I make adjustments, but that's why if Caleb Williams is not good through 10 weeks, yes, I am vindicated. Just because he finishes off the year strong doesn't mean I'm not vindicated. I am vindicated. If he's bad 50% of the year, I am vindicated in my worry. Because it takes half a year, the superstar prospect, yeah, I'm vindicated. That is not a high ceiling outcome for the Bears that it takes Caleb Williams half a year to be good at football. That's not a good outcome for them. That's an okay outcome if he then progresses at the end of the year. That's not good.
Like I think if it's like a linear like if by the end of the year, if he's showing really good improvement, now you can carry that over to 2026. I think it's much better than if he plays really well again and then falls off the second half of the season. I do think it's a linear thing. Like if he struggles through the first weeks or so, I'm not going to say, oh, time to give up on Caleb. You still have 11 weeks left in the year.
No, yeah, but if he's bad to start, that's a bad start, and that's where the concern lies, that he's not going to be good to start. That's literally the whole point of concern, that they last year were considered a playoff team. They were considered a playoff team. They have a lot of talent around them and now a good coach. So if it takes him half a year, he has a good coach, good talent, yes, there's concern. There's 100% concern. I could still not fall off the Caleb Williams bandwagon, but I could still be like, this is rough. Like, I never said if he's bad this year, I'm giving up on him. I never put that in a single point in my argument. I'm just saying, as far as the Bears this year, yes, there's concern. And if you're not even thinking about the playoffs then with this talent, there is a concern. If you're not even thinking playoffs with this level of talent, that's concern.
I think it's in the realm of possibilities that they make the playoffs. I still know if they're not for sure lock-in playoff team, obviously.
Well, yeah,
I do think it's in the realm of possible. Like, what is their ceiling, do you think, this year, like record-wise? I mean, and let's move on to the next team. But
9 wins.
Okay, 9 wins. Okay. I think like 10 wins is probably their ceiling. And 10-7 in the NFC and in that division may not make the playoffs.
But yeah, I don't think they're hitting that. That's my point for my concern.
I think they're hitting it. They're like.
I think they're going to win 6 or 7 games. I think they're winning 6 or 7 games. I could see 6. And if that happens, I'm fully vindicated. So if they're under 500, I still think I'm vindicated. Their talent's really good. You play in a good division, but under 500 with this talent, I'm vindicated. Unless just injuries galore and stuff. That's separate.
My last team I'll bring up to you is it's actually tough on this. I'm going to say the Green Bay Packers, and this is another health team. And I'm not saying this is overly concerned, but Jordan Love, thumb injury, he should be back for week 1, but you never want to, ligament surgery this late in the offseason. Their receiving core similar to the 49ers. Matthew Golden's really the only healthy one there. Dontayvion Wicks is hurt. Romeo Doubs is hurt. Jaden Reed's hurt. There's a lot of injuries there. Defensively, you're also missing Xavier McKinney as well, who's also dealing with a calf injury. Is there any level of concern here, or is this something where, you kind of brush off and it's like they still have 2 weeks. They still have the foundation there. What's the level of concern with the Packers for you?
They're just like a 5. It's not – I don't love them to begin with, so I have some more concern just right off the get-go. Their injury is a little concerning. I flipped the script on Jaden Reed. I actually think he's a little underrated looking, and like you could say he doesn't get on the field a lot, but for like how much he gets on the field, he got like 800 yards. It's pretty impressive. The O-line should be good, not fantastic. I am concerned about Jordan Love. He keeps getting these little knacky injuries. I want to see if he can get a full year healthy after, and then just like, I don't know. I think he's good. I don't know what his ceiling really is. Like the defense, I know it's preseason. It looked bad. It did not look good, but they are keeping it is basically like the same exact roster. So sometimes I think that could be good.
You lost Jair Alexander. Their corners are not.
He barely played last year. I don't even know if that's considered losing from last year. That's a lot like the Niners, where it's like barely played. Like Jair, I'm not even considering that a loss. He didn't play, and when he plays, he's kind of a headache, and he's a little overrated. So I'm not even not fully considering that. I didn't think their cornerbacks were that good anyways, even with him. We'll see how Nate Hobbs is. But, 5. I do have some concern, but it's nothing I'm freaking out about. I feel like the concern is more I need to watch 3 weeks, and then I can fully decide. Because, their defense has, you go through their starters, I kind of like them all. But I don't love anyone. I love Xavier McKinney, but he's hurt. But if Evan Williams, they have some good safeties. And their problem is they don't have really superstars. Their best players are Josh Jacobs, Zach Tom is Elton Jenkins, if he can get back to Elton Jenkins, is a stud. Defensively, they have a whole bunch of solid guys on D. If Rashawn Gary could play like he did that 1 year, and then McKinney may be their best player.
I mean, so like the first 2 weeks, so they play Detroit week 1, and then you turn around a short week against Washington. Now that game is in Green Bay, but like early season, I do have concerns about their defense in general. And another thing for me is I've never been in love with Jordan Love. It's just like he had 9 really good games, and like before that stretch, we were all kind of talking about, are they in the quarterback market heading into that offseason? And he kind of beat lesser competition quarterback, beat some bad defenses. Jordan Love, I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I still think he's a good quarterback, but I think the hype for him was very premature. And I still like that contract that he got. They were kind of pinned in a corner.
Yeah,
I was never in love with paying him that much money. And I've said that from the day he got signed, that I was never in love with paying him that much money solely on based on just 9 good games of performance.
I mean, yeah, we'll see with him. I'm still pretty in the middle on him. I don't know. He's looked good, and like I know it's Cowboys, and they weren't that good that year, but they did have like 12 wins, so they were good in some sense. Had a great playoff game, and then he got hurt last year right away. He's doing nagging stuff. So we'll see on him. That's kind of like if I trusted him, it would probably be a 3 or 4, but I don't fully trust him yet. So yeah, I'm kind of concerned, but I mean, Matthew Golden gained a lot of hype for our dynasty team's sake. I hope he is warranted.
Well, but, like on that,
they still. I don't dislike. I think I only dislike their corners. Everything else, I at least like.
I mean, I'm just like you said, they don't really have a star player now. Maybe Matthew Golden turns into that star player. Not his rookie year. I don't think he's gonna be like. You're gonna deal with
they do have a great coach. Great coach.
Good and I do think that coaching scheme kind of. I don't want to say makes Jordan Love, but Jordan Love, I think there's a lot of times he's throwing to wide open players. Like I think wide open. So yeah, Packers for me, it's tough because I do really like their overall solid talent. Like they probably have B+ players everywhere across the roster, but they don't have that A guy that can take over again.
I think McKinney. I mean, it's a safety. That's the thing. I think they have an A guy at the least important position. The O-line, Zach Tom is near.
O-line's always good.
Elton Jenkins could be back to.
Well, yeah, Packers offensive line's always a stellar group.
And then if Rashawn Gary 2 years ago was amazing, if he can get back to that, then you have some A- level guys. It's like I like a lot of people. I like a lot, but I just don't love many people. It's like Josh Jacobs. Where's he rank on the running back list? He's not top 6. So,
Is he top 10? I think yes.
I think then we discussed
he ran for 1,400 yards last year.
I think we discussed this. I like Tucker Kraft could turn into an A- tight end.
I think he's solid.
But I'm just saying what he could turn into. I don't think he's there yet. I remember we went through the Josh Jacobs thing, and I said I don't think he's top 10. But then I went through it, and I'm like, oh, he's top 10 because I mean, I don't like Kenneth Walker. I don't dislike him, but I don't love him, and he ended up. We did that exercise the other day. He's like 14th or 15th for me, near 12. So yeah, Jacobs is top 10. I think after looking at it, it's like yeah.
And we're probably gonna do our predictions in the next week or so. But this is why the NFC North to me is the toughest division to pick, is because you really like a lot of things for each team, but then there's also, in my opinion, some glaring question marks for each team, or glaring like you just don't know. And so that's why the NFC North for me is, I think, easily the toughest division to pick 1 through 4.
Mm-hmm. Oh, can I go ahead with my last team for you?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I thought you were going to pick this team, so I was planning to pivot, but Miami. Yeah,
this is obvious. This shouldn't even be.
There's concern. I think there's concern because everyone can get fired. There is concern. They are a team who's made the playoff.
No, but my point is obviously it's a concern.
But it's not like they're the Browns. It's like Miami wins some games with Tua. Tua has like a 600 record, which is pretty good. I think that they're worthy of discussing because they have been good. But this could be – my concern is this ends everything. This ends it all. It's not like just a bad year. Because like I was thinking about the Bengals – But it's like, even if they're bad this year again, you still have like at least one more year where Burrow and Chase will try to figure it out. Like one more year.
Yeah,
but
I
it's
think
like
you'll be fired
if Miami, yeah, no, I know. But if they're not good this year, it's over.
I mean, I'm going to say a 9.5.
Yeah.
I can easily say 10. Offensive line, terrible.
Yeah.
Mike McDaniel, I don't think players really even respect Mike McDaniel. Even players, like you see videos of players that played for Miami, they kind of make these undertone, passive-aggressive comments about, the culture and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's that great of a coach. I think he calls plays, and really, to be quite honest with you, he may be very smart, but he calls the same things over and over again and kind of gets caught on. Now, I think that's because of their limitations at quarterback. I think if you had, like, let's say we can go back in time, they take Herbert instead of Tua, which I think they would do that if they could. You would not just be seeing the offense just run these middle of the field routes, because all teams are now doing is they're dropping their linebackers into coverage, middle of the field, and they're forcing Tua to throw outside numbers, which he does not have the arm strength to hit these out routes with precision. He's very accurate, but he's going to sail balls because he does not have the arm strength to do it. He can't move, or he can move a bit, but he's not overly athletic. Defensively, I think that they're going to be a very bad unit.
Yeah.
I don't like their offensive scheme. Their offensive scheme, in my opinion, is overrated. Their run game, it's very smoke and mirrors, very finesse. I think Tyreek Hill is going to be traded by the trade deadline this year. I think if you listen to Mike McDaniel, he kind of seems like already kind of done with Tyreek Hill. I think a lot of players in that locker room kind of done with him. If he didn't have the talent, I think they would try.
No, yeah, he's
Jalen Wall's injury prone. They don't really have any running back depth behind Devon Achane.
I mean, Jalen Wright is solid. I know.
He's fine. Tyreek said run him in the goal. They did it 4 times against the Bears, got stuffed each time. I don't know how good he really is. Their schedule, so I'm looking at their schedule right now. If for whatever reason they lose to the Colts, next 3 games are all divisional games: Patriots, Buffalo, Jets. Jets, I think quietly could have one of the best offensive line in the league this year. I think they invested first-round capital in each of those positions. You like Carolina this year. I think you're kind of sneaky. Carolina can be sneaky. You have the Chargers the next week, and then they have Cleveland, which is a break. But then you have Atlanta, Baltimore, Buffalo, Washington before their bye. There's a chance that this team is 2-8, 3-7, and like you said, like Tua has a solid record. How many of those wins are against really bad teams? When it gets cold and teams against 500, he is not good. Like the win percentage of quarterbacks I think it's kind of overstated stat at times, but for Tua, I think it's one of the most overrated stats to bring up. He only beats bad teams.
I don't think it's overrated.
I could care less about his win percentage when most of those wins are against really bad teams.
He's beaten some good teams where he's showed out. If the season was, if every game was in a dome, I mean, he'd be, again, I think his accuracy and timing are top tier-ish levels. I think he's oddly a quarterback who's not the smartest, but he's really good at timing, which makes no sense. But I think he is one of those, it's like a weird combination where I don't think he has a high football IQ, but I think he's really good like with timing routes. But yeah, then his arm strength's terrible. His durability is terrible.
Routes are RPO routes in the middle of the field. Once defense takes that away,
he has good timing. I think that's pretty If you think he doesn't have good timing, I think that's weird. That's pretty undisputed.
I'm not saying that. I
think
he's
great timing. But timing and accuracy isn't the same thing. But he has great timing and accuracy. But then about height, durability, IQ, arm strength are all low, and so I think that's something. I think it does mean something to win, even if you beat bad teams, because the other quarterbacks on the team can't win, but he can win at least regularly. I'm not saying he's anything special,
but that's the same. That's the same thing that we talk about Dak Prescott. Like when they went 12-5, like the year they lost to Green Bay, for example, all their wins were against really bad teams. And when they played like Green Bay, I think they were 9.5-point favorites in that game. They played a decent team and they got walloped. They gave up 48 points.
Yeah, that happens.
Dak's stats for that year were inflated as well.
No, I understand that, but that doesn't mean that they're not good quarterbacks. They're each good quarterbacks.
I'm not saying they're bad, but I'm just saying for the
Okay,
money
I'm
they're
not.
making.
No one's saying either are great. No one's saying either are great. The only people who say Dak are great are Cowboys fans. No one praises Dak like he's a top 10. They're paid like it, but this is not about pay. It's not about pay. It's about they're like middle of the pack guys. I think Dak's better because Dak, even though if Dak can't move as well as he used to, I do think that's not great. So I don't love Tua, but you know what? He has moments where like he can start a season off well. But if he doesn't start the season off well, yes, it's bad. Even though, and I don't like looking at schedules. They do have an easier path, assuming we know what we know. After the bye, it looks easier-ish, but I mean, who knows? Maybe the Jets and Pittsburgh.
But yeah, but you just brought up he needs to be good early.
No, yeah, I know. I understand his, but I feel like that's known. I feel like that's pretty easy. Like we understand they have to win early. If they wanted to have any success in the playoffs, they got to get like some insane dome game or something like that, or they host a game in Florida, but that's never going to happen because you can't win in the cold. So yeah, I don't feel good about them. It's probably the end of everything. I think they're sneaky.
Let me ask you this.
I'm not. I think they're a sneak. I don't think it's like sneaky what I'm saying, but it's like it would still be surprising, but like first pick potential more because like they lose early, Tua gets hurt, locker room's finished, Tyreek Hill's doing Tyreek Hill stuff, and then they just can't win games. Not because their talent's at the worst, but because the locker room's falling apart.
Yeah, like I think Mike McDaniel's fired, Chris Greer's fired, Tyreek Hill will be traded by midseason. If they could move off to his contract, they would, but you can't really move it at this point. I think 2027 is probably the first year you can move off of it. And like, yeah, when they signed him, which I thought was another stupid contract that they handed out. One, because of injury, and two, I just don't think he's that good. I do not think he's that good at all. I think if you like, you're paying him A+ money, and do you think he elevates play pieces around him? I don't.
I don't think he does at all. Fits well into. I don't think many quarterbacks could take advantage of the speed. If he had an arm, there would not be a single. If he had an arm, there would not. If I'm not finished with my point, Logan, Mister, I'm always interrupting you.
I'm not.
If he had, you did a little ups as if you're about to start, but. I think that if he had an arm, there would not be a single quarterback more capable of taking advantage of the speed. If he had an arm, because his accuracy and timing.
You could say that if he had an arm. Wow, the most.
No, but he takes advantage of the middle of the field better than maybe any quarterback outside Joe Burrow would with these weapons. I think that's an aspect that, like, I'm not saying you have to praise him, but I think that's an aspect of the game you have to acknowledge. Just because you don't like him doesn't mean you can't praise when he does stuff well. I don't think a single. I'm not done.
Because that's all he could do.
But okay, yes, Logan. I just said you don't have to praise him, but you still have to acknowledge it. You say it and you make it negative every time. I don't love Tua that much, but you have to acknowledge he has certain skill sets that do take advantage of the talent more than like how good is Jalen Waddle truly? I don't know. There's a chance Tua made Waddle look a little better than he actually is. There's just a chance he takes advantage of the field, middle of the field, insanely well. Now, but it limits him that he can only do that, but he still does it. It's like if someone can only hit threes, you're like, well, he can't play defense, but he also can hit 7 threes in 2 minutes. Like you acknowledge the danger, but you also know he's insanely limited. So he's like a Kyle Korver type. It's not bad.
I think, and that's what you just said is one of the biggest pet peeve arguments I hear. No other quarterback would fit in that system better than. No, but that's the argument that people make, and I didn't say you made that, but like people will make the argument of Tua is the perfect quarterback for Mike McDaniel's system. They said the same thing about Jimmy G on the 49ers for years. He's a perfect quarterback for Kyle Shanahan's system. That's total BS. That's total BS in my opinion, because I think the system is placated to their skill set, and that's the system. If you're telling me that he's more of a perfect fit than like Mahomes or Josh Allen Miami system, I just disagree. I think they play that system because of his limitations. That's what I think. Like I said the same thing about Jimmy G.
They would do better in the system, but they wouldn't do better using the system. They'd just be better because they're better, not using the system. And in the end, it doesn't matter how you win; it just matters that you win. But I do think Tua takes advantage of the middle of the field system more than maybe any other quarterback would, and I think that's fine. Not saying that he's the best fit because you put him Mahomes and he won't hit every throw that Tua does 20 yards down the field like Tua does, but he'll do so many other things. But that certain aspect, I literally think it's like I mean, Herbert has good anticipation, but he also doesn't have good anticipation. I feel like sometimes he doesn't, like, his accuracy is obviously, Herbert's accuracy is nuts. But there's so many other things with Herbert which make him not a tier 1 quarterback when he should be. But like Bryce Young, I think that's the perfect fit. Bryce Young is the perfect fit for the system because I think his anticipation accuracy is near to us. He has a little stronger arm. His arm's not super strong, but it's not like a limiting strength. And then he can actually move and stuff. So I think Bryce Young is besides any of the great quarterbacks, because obviously they're the great quarterbacks. That's what makes them great. I like a Bryce Young would be like perfect.
See, I completely disagree, and we don't have to go back and forth. But like, I think the middle of the field stuff. Yes, he's very good at that, but I also think Miami, when they're constructing their offensive game plan, I think like they wanted to. I think there's like 30% of plays that they're leaving off the board because Tua just can't.
No, probably,
and that's why I think he fits in that system. No, they are fitting a system around him because of his limitations.
Well,
it's not that.
I think that is.
I don't think that's an ideal system that Mike McDaniel wants to play is only throw in the middle of the field because if they could, all defenses are doing take away the middle of the field. You're telling me that they don't want to adjust to that and try to throw outside the numbers? They just want to keep running the middle of the field.
I bet they do. Again, I haven't said that once in any way.
But that's my point.
But there's certain games.
I don't think that's a system.
I know that's your point. I'm just acknowledging he's an okay quarterback, and I think you're saying the same thing, but you're just trying.
I'm not saying that he's a bottom 5 quarterback.
Yeah, and I'm not saying he's a top 10 quarterback. That's my. I'm saying he's okay, and you're. No, I'm saying he's okay, and you keep like, oh, well, this. I know this is why he's only okay because I'm literally acknowledging all the limitations. You don't need to like bring them back in a counter. I'm acknowledging them all. I also think there's a couple games which maybe only when there's a few of those shootouts. Tua played remarkable. You can say they're middle of field stuff, but it was like 6 just anticipatory throws that few can make. But now at the end, it still limits everything. And I'm acknowledging every single one of those limitations. I'm not acknowledging any of them. I'm just saying he's okay.
Do you remember that Monday night game against Tennessee? I think it was like 2 years ago. Where Tyreek Hill went out. Okay, I'm just bringing it up. Why are you stop so defensive, dude? Just bring up a game.
You're defensive.
But every time I bring up a point, you have to like go into your attitude. Just let me talk.
I'm not going into that. You have way more attitude.
Okay, well, yeah, because I have to deal with you. Tyreek Hill goes out in that game about halfway through. And I believe they didn't score. Like, they only scored like 6 points after Tyreek Hill went out of that game. And Will Levis ended up winning that game for the Dolphins. I think it was like 28.
Will Levis.
27. Exactly. But, like, I think that's another thing. Like, as much as I think they should get rid of Tyreek Hill, I don't know what Tua is in 2026 if Tyreek Hill's not there.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But he also has no O-line. So give Tua an O-line. He's never had one.
Well, that's another problem, though. Because you paid him this much money.
Well, yeah, but okay, but I'm not talking about the money. I think the money's pretty non-need to be discussed. Give him an O-line and see how that goes. He's an okay quarterback. Maybe give him not as good receivers, but give him an O-line. Maybe that's what he truly needs all this time. I think
he needs those receivers, though. I mean, he took Tyreek Hill away for half a game against Tennessee, and he looked bad.
Yeah, because then he can't throw the ball away quickly because he's also not getting blocked for at all. And so you have to acknowledge no Tyreek Hill with no O-line. Yeah, who's going to look good there? You have no O-line and no Tyreek Hill. Then you're throwing to like, I don't know, they're back of like Robbie Anderson. It's like, yeah, that's not going to be. It's not going to be great.
Jalen Waddle's contract, by the way,
I don't know.
Because I think I said this when this happened, but when they made Tua, Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle their top 3 highest paid players, it was like that formula is not. Waddle for me is way too injury prone, and just like I don't know, Waddle to me, he's probably number 2, but he never stays on the field.
I mean, the real problem is that they're bad. They're also just bad at drafting O-line. Like all the linemen who they have that they drafted, terrible picks. Like they do.
Well, when was like their last good first round pick? I guess you say Tua and Waddle have been good. Okay, and I think he had an Achilles injury, I think, but yeah,
but healthy Jalen Phillips, great talent.
No, he's good. Yeah, I just don't free agent wise.
Waddle, Jalen Phillips. Yeah. Also, another thing, I feel like we talk about them a lot. There's not much else to say about them, but I'm okay with trading Jonnu Smith, but trading Jonnu Smith to go get Evan Ingram also, like, honestly, that was just like, okay, you're stupid.
You mean Darren Waller, which is even worse?
Who did I say? Yeah, trade Jonnu Smith and sign Darren Waller. It's just like,
well, Darren Waller hasn't even practiced. Have you seen that? He hasn't.
No, it was literally the dumbest. It was literally the dumbest thing. Like, I was like, that I'm okay if you trade him. Like, I thought Pittsburgh won that trade. I'm like, I don't love Ramsey. He's still good, and like Jonnu's pretty good. It's like, and you don't have.
I think it was kind of a wash for both. I didn't like it from both. Like, I like the Jonnu piece, I guess, because Arthur Smith really likes him. But Pittsburgh got older at corner, more expensive, or I guess Ramsey may play safety. I think he probably plays corner, but like Ramsey's more expensive and older than Mika Fitzpatrick, hasn't been as productive. I don't know. Pittsburgh to me that's another team where I don't know if they fit his level of concern category, but like I don't know.
I don't. Pittsburgh, I'm pretty mad on. I'm pretty mad on Pittsburgh, but I think Pittsburgh won that trade because Jonnu Smith's a top 10 tight end.
See, that's another thing I don't get. That the Miami shipped Johnny Smith out when they really didn't have to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, they weren't going to pay him. So I'm okay trading him, but then you lost a trade, and then you sign someone who hasn't played and can't block, and you want to be physical. He's not physical. So, yeah, I thought that was –
well, Darren Waller was also rapping about 6 months ago.
Yeah, no, it was like go trade for someone or something, or try to get Michael Mayer or someone. Don't get Evan Ingram. Or Evan Ingram. I don't know why I keep confusing him.
You mean Michael Mayer?
Yeah, that's what I said first. And then I said Mayer doesn't matter.
Well, Michael Mayer is like the movie.
Yes, I know who he is.
So his pronunciation was off. But I get what you're saying. But yeah, I don't think we really talk about Miami anymore. But yeah, I think it's going to be a very interesting season for Miami. And like, do you think they trade Tyreek Hill at the deadline, or do you think they kind of ride?
I mean, if someone trades for him, I don't know if anyone.
And like, I think it's kind of tough to find. And I guess teams have already reached out to Miami for Tyreek Hill. Jeremy Fowler.
Yeah, but they could be like lowballing the hell out of him.
Well, of course, yeah. I don't know. Anything else before we close out today's episode? And we'll probably shift into. Do you want to do predictions next week, or do you want to wait?
We'll see.
Next week too early.
Okay. We'll see.
All right. Well, until then, make sure to follow the channel, subscribe to the channel, leave a like button, and we'll probably be back next week with either predictions or if any other news breaks, we'll talk about that as well. But until then, as I said, make sure to subscribe to the channel, follow the channel, and leave a like button.
Peace.